teeny bit hard. I think what I have is a few segments of like a set for the set man. This is a brief note I wrote for Dispatches that's doing a Gerrit Lansing, what is he calling it? Portfolio.
Oh, yeah.
So this was just a note I wrote to send to Mon. The association of poetic and magical practice by a major poet and a lifelong initiate is a rare thing. That Gerrit's library is at this moment intact. It is as if Dr. D's library were available for our perusal. One could excerpt formulations in Gerrit's poetry from which to construct a vision of the practice of magic and the practice of poetry appropriate to our times and times to come. That the consummation of magical practice is preceded by the originary evolution of a magical cosmos. It is as if one only achieved the higher grades in a magical order by traversing and transcending the modalities offered in it and by it, evolving the system anew at the very center of engagement with it. Thus magic and poetry commute. That the work is an arc to navigate manifest existence. I praise the canyons no bridges span, but eagles fly across. From unknown pole to unknown pole, like a symbol between two everted brackets. The traces of practice manifest in the work, but the work in its proper eventuality was no trace merely, but the composition of a rite enacted all life long, a phrase that echoes through the lifelong extension that is this poetry. A throw of dice will not abolish chance, Mallarmé hazarded, but it is no chance that the hazard to which this work actually rises steps out of the chanciness of apparent being itself. The measure sustaining is never provisional, majestic it opens on silence. Let intellect be rampant in the flagrant colors of the indomitably so. Plus this, a poem of mine for Gerrit's magically efficacious objects. Here is a cabinet of magic rings. Each ring one song. If you are a finger, better watch it. We're not inert, we little rings. We sing in the dark and order the dust. In the light of the tinctures. Dawn rocks with light as his rocks go off into the mouth of the sea. A virgin hurls them from cinnabar cliffs. Something got into my left eye. I cannot get it out. It is your body, and it makes me rub my left eye. When my right eye twins it, the two of you will sail up into my brain, and my eyes will be soothed, and my head will not be sore. The two of you will rock in the hammock on my old-fashioned porch, holding hands, loving yourself. How mysterious. What I just wrote, as if it were future, seems to be what has happened already, and I realized that time, I had said it before but forgotten, is not where we really are. These are 2 of 3 poems from the underworld. One, Black Currant to Jelly. Have you opened your head to the dead? Do they puddle there, your wire voice, what? Do they puddle there, wire your voice box? It comes in as he swallowed. Outside the door to his room, the darker successions were waiting, thumping and purring, thumping and purring. In the floor, the crack opened, and squeezing out gently on him, it fastened. He opened his mouth, hard on this burden to eat in order to sing. 2, a birth in the world, a birth in this world. The scanners went rosy to feel him. They sped to his eyes and extended their mandibles. The zealots, a banquet of light, such stalks, such starry wind walks. All use is abuse, the word of the eon. Three anecdotes of the uncanny. 1. Seeing an old one stepping out of a saucer, about 9 feet tall, yellow-colored, mouth like a bird, nose a high arch, bushy eyebrows 5 inches long, long ears, maybe 7 inches long. On his forehead, 3 up and down wrinkles, wearing something funny, a multicolored cloud. 2. Night at Little Powder River. Sleep I could not, also strange, lovely, weird, white cotton trees. The black river splashing slowly by, campfires, strange gleams, in the distance, the mournful cry of a coyote, the shrill cry of some night bird, the swish of its wings, a feeling not to be forgot. At last, unable to keep still any longer, I got up, walked noiselessly to the edge of the cotton tree clump, and looked over the wide expanse. My thoughts flew home. What were they doing? How strange, if they could picture my whereabouts. I was getting quite melancholy romantic when, I suddenly stepped in some soft substance that began to wriggle and squirm under my feet. How fast I jumped back. I heard it scramble off among the dead leaves and grass. I hurried back to the firelight and my sleeping bag, quite cured of any further wish for moonlight rambles that fine night. 3. The process wars. My buddy and I sat in a cave on Misty Mountain thinking about the process. A guy came up to us all dressed in yellow. "Rest yourselves, weary processors," he said. We quickly looked into our mirrors. There was a tiger, we said. "Hey, old tiger cat belonging to this mountain, how dare you pretend to be a man?" The man changed into a tiger and soon departed. Okay, there are 2 more things, actually 3 more things I'm going to do. I'm going to read a little piece about the set figure. Then I'm going to read the poem of mine that I read in Gloucester for Gerrit. And then Mike and I will go do something. Gerrit Lansing published 2 issues of his magazine Set in the early 60s. Set, of course, is the 4th member of the Egyptian tetrad, together with Osiris, Isis, Horus. Set murders the solar Osiris, cutting him into innumerable distinctions, decisions, differences. Isis reassembles Osiris, who, in infant Horus, reappears newborn. The rebirth of the sun in Horus is the dawn of the oncoming eon, but the dismembering of the passing world age is the condition of the new and the prevision of its material. The decisioning of cosmic order is mirrored or managed in every act of formation and deformation, in the flash and development of each unit of consciousness or of life. Life divides, becomes more than itself by destruction of self, is diverse, different, difficult. The knife of Set, in Gerrit Lansing's phrase, lances the purulent false continuities anterior to golden dawn, perpetual in each moment and each world. Two poems, each ending with Dreamwood. First poem. Mules means work, and you don't want to do it if you were mules. Pulling a cart or mule load up a mountain, the burden of existence suffered to be carried up the suffered road that is the task at hand. Horses, contrariwise, run free from their burdens, fly on the wind with God-sprung pinions, plumes of flame, ultimately. But broken horses fear the flame, fear the absolute of their own liberation, if we are horses. To shake off the harness is within reach, possibly. You buck and whinny, wildly waggle your wizened mane and attempt it. Imagine flight, call on gods. But fire is fearful, if you choose to doubt the feasibility of it. Do you have an absolute nature free in the fire or not? Will you be devoured by the flames of your own liberation? I am of two minds naturally, the one which treats its own nature as a matter of urgent inquiry, the other that shoots from the root. For I know it is not mule work to attain the ultimacy of where I actually am, but the work of flaming horses, a light in the dream wood. Second poem for Gerrit. How to eke out a niche of absolute divergence that leverages everything to a value each thing denies. A big egg hatched Max Ernst in the summer when the rotting mother bird had to peck at her own breast to rid her product of its matrix and set him contrariwise to the work of an impertinent discovery. The putrescence of polyphony has a sun in it, a face that shines like the sun 1 minute. But later, the thing you thought was the sun falls from the thing you thought was the sky. Even the sky is the projection of a prodigious illusion. All use, abuse. To cite for the umpteenth time in these missives, the wizened sorcerer of Gloucester, Massachusetts, who eats and eats and eats, whose intellect eats and eats, but shines in the dream wood. I think that's it. Thank you.